Welcome, everyone, to our Right Sizing Readiness webinar series. This is session 7. Very excited to be here. We are talking about aging with intention and purpose today, and so excited to have our guest on tonight, Penelope Mathieson, and we're going to talk a lot about who she is and why we're so happy to have her here. But before we do that, just a few housekeeping things that I want to cover. Here we go. So your cameras and mics are muted and off. Be comfortable that we can't see you or hear you. And so please be comfortable, grab that cup of tea and sit back and listen. Meanwhile, there will be a lot of time for Q&A. And so there is a box, if you can see at the bottom of your screen, if you do have any questions along the way during the presentation, and we'll also leave some time at the end. So please feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A box that you should see at the bottom of your screen. Also, we will send an email out tomorrow with the recording and some information that came out of today's episode. A lot of today we'll be talking about Penelope herself, and we'll give some links to where you can find her also. And we will also have an opportunity to win gift cards. We typically do coffee gift cards, which everyone loves, maybe iced coffee these days, but we will send an email out, so please look out for that tomorrow. For those of you who don't know us, we are Seamless Right Sizing. We are real estate solutions for seniors. And so our team is really focused on all parts of the right sizing journey. And we talk a lot about right sizing. It looks a lot like downsizing, but it's downsizing plus. It's really about the other aspects. It's not just about the home. It's about fitting the home to the life that you want. And that is really the theme of today. Penelope is the model, I would say, the personification of living with intention. And so we do things in a very intentional way. We start with education and planning all the way from getting you settled into the right sized home that fits your lifestyle. So that's a bit about who we are. But I do want to save some time and get right into today and introduce our guest. So Penelope Mathieson is someone who I met actually, just a couple of years ago. Just a couple of months ago. It feels like years, Penelope. And she is just a phenomenal example of what we talk about at Seamless Right Sizing. She wears a whole bunch of hats, as you can see here, but I think Nona's probably her favorite one, and we'll show a little bit of that. I think we have a picture of her grandson, who's now 3, but Penelope is just an example of how we talk about aging with intention. And so amongst these hats, we're going to get into some storytelling, and after the session, we'll talk to you a little bit about the Right Sizing webinar series, which is going to be in person soon. So we'll get to that at the end. But let's just get into it. I think we have a photo coming up next. Penelope, I think this person may be a big inspiration of why you want to live many long years. There he is. And so welcome, Penelope. I think you're muted, so I'll let you get unmuted. And just want to thank you so much for being here. Like I said, you have already inspired me in just a couple of months. And so we're so glad that you're here with us.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very, very excited about this opportunity. And look at those beautiful beings.
Yes, look, you got 2 babies there. I think
I
Lucas is
know, I know.
3 now.
Lucy and Lucas.
Lucy and Lucas. Very nice. Well, again, thank you for being here. We are going to take the screen down just so we can see your beautiful face and get your energy through the screen. But
And Charlie's going to join us
oh,
because
Charlie's going to join us.
it's
Oh,
what he
very good.
does. Say hi,
Oh,
Charlie. Okie dokie.
very nice. Well, you know what, Penelope, one of the first things when I met you, we talked about the word senior and
Yes.
what that holds. So tell me a little bit about what that meant for you at one time and what that means to you today. What does that word mean?
Oh my gosh, I've gone through so many iterations of what I thought senior was and what it actually is. And although technically I am a senior, I'm 72 years of age.
Mm,
I think there's a lot of misconceptions around what today's senior is. And I think that was where my struggle was and perhaps still is. So
mm,
for example, baby boomers are the first generation to live as long as we have, and we have another 20, 25 years ahead of us
Yeah.
that previous generations didn't. And so this new senior is unlike our parents, no disrespect.
Yeah.
But women in particular were highly educated. Many of us have had careers, which also has given us financial freedom, independence, and a very different lifestyle from that which I thought was the norm, which was how I was raised. And so I struggle with the word senior. I'll share a funny story with you. When I turned 55,
Mhm.
and a friend told me that, oh, you have to go to Shoppers Drug Mart because Senior's Day is Thursday. It's like, I will not.
But the discount, Penelope.
I just, I really struggled. Honestly, I really struggled with the term. And
Yeah.
I will share something else about age, and that is in both in corporate and the nonprofit sector, both of which I've been a big part of. There was so much judgment, particularly for women at a certain
Mm.
age. And I'm hearing it's now starting at 45, and this is just crazy because
Yeah,
there's so much intellectual capital there.
absolutely.
And so, again, it's about misunderstanding and judgment. And why don't we just pay attention to one another, have a conversation, talk it through, and not just be so quick to judge?
Yeah.
So, back to Shoppers Drug Mart. So, I finally started going to Shoppers on Senior's Day at 63 because I
Yeah.
thought this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's 20%,
You've
right?
earned that discount,
I've
Penelope.
earned that discount, goodness knows. So that was one step towards. But I think it's really the connotation of what senior means. I had no trouble being a senior VP. That was
Mm.
terrific. But when it came to me literally being a senior, also, I recognized at the age of 69, I could no longer get a contract. And I love
Mm.
to work. I love what I do. And it came down to and they didn't know my age. I was very quiet throughout my 50s and 60s as to my real age. But, there is judgment when you look at my resume. So, long story short, I wanted to do something about that. And I thought, well, I'll start a podcast so I can start spreading the news and meet other women like me. And I met thousands of them.
Mm.
And that was such a privilege, and that really was an eye-opener, and that cemented my commitment to this generation that I want to be a spokesperson. I want to be a role model, an advocate for all people, but particularly women who
Mm.
have been misjudged, misrepresented, because there's just a lot of misjudgment around us.
Yeah. So, what does the word senior mean to you today then? How would you define it?
Today, it still means the same. It means something different, but I think the perception is
Mm.
very slow to catch on. So I'm not as offended by the term. In fact, I guess I'm not offended at all. I don't know. I don't know. However, that being said, I want to go back to 69 and this happened just before my 70th birthday.
Yeah.
So it's taken me about 18 months to get where I am now with a new business. However, it was such a gift and an opportunity at the same time. And now I'm using senior as the tool to connect me. So
Yeah.
there's the advantage. And so
Yeah.
now all I do is talk about my age. So I've gone
Yeah.
from never wanting to share it to being proud and open because I know that when we speak up and we invite others to chime in,
Yeah.
it reduces the stigma.
Yeah.
We feel more comfortable with every conversation saying, "Ah, I'm turning 60 next month. What's going to happen?" Like nothing.
Yeah. So tell me, you talked a bit about ageism. How did it show up in your life? So
Oh
either
gosh.
personally, in career, how did it show up in your life?
It showed up professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall it showing up personally, but it definitely showed up professionally. And I remember distinctly one organization where I was working in the nonprofit space when I turned 63. And I shared that with my boss at the time, who was another woman and who was younger than I am. And she was shocked because she thought she was older. And
Mm.
then she was almost a bit, and so it was just this weird thing. So it took me a while because that was the first attempt I'd had at being honest about my age, and it was a negative response. So I thought,
Mm,
okay, this I really have to keep this quiet. But I feel so free that I can talk about it now because it helps other women
absolutely.
and young girls coming into the business who are
Yeah.
wondering, is this going to happen to them? My daughter-in-law works in HR,
Yeah.
and she has shared with me, and she's in her 40s, early 40s, and she shared with me that she is starting to see shifts as early as 45, and it's really alarming. And so, what that does to you if you're career oriented is you're looking at your prospects, and it might affect your contribution to that organization.
Yeah.
So, companies are really not, they're doing a disservice by
Mm,
not allowing people to be more comfortable in their own skin and in their
yeah.
own roles and in their own age.
Mm. And what has the response been? So Boomer Exchange, it's on Saga 960. That's how we met. I was so grateful to be
You
a
are
guest on your show.
amazing on
Yeah.
radio, girl.
And I want to ask you, so you've talked about how this has impacted. So you really discuss age. You are destigmatizing the idea
Yes.
of age being an issue and that, I try to always remember what a gift it is to age another year because not everyone gets to
Yes.
do it. But when you talk about what you do on Boomer Exchange, what has the specific response been from folks listening?
Where have you been? Where have you been? And again, it gives people, I think, a little bit of encouragement. It reduces some of the stigma and in some cases even shame. It's something that we should embrace and be proud of.
Hmm.
To age is a gift. Every day is a gift.
Yeah.
So that's the third part. I can break this down into three chapters because if you believe, as I do, that life unfolds in three chapters, chapter one is all about discovery. We're born, where we come into the world, we're discovering ourselves, our families, our friends, play, school, everything. And chapter two is a really active part of our life where we're building our education, our careers, our
Hmm.
families, our community, contributing to community. And then chapter three used to be, and then you retire, and then in a few years, you expire.
Yeah.
That's no longer the case for the majority of baby boomers. I'll say
Hmm.
80-20 rule. And so I think that I'm not the only one that looks at it that way. There are still people that think once you hit retirement, and that's another stigma associated with retirement, it has always been around the 55 to 65 age group,
Hmm.
but we're living longer. So maybe, and organizations are now starting to understand the value in baby boomers and what they can contribute to organizations.
Yeah.
And statistically, it has been shown that when you have five generations in a large
5. Yeah.
organization,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are probably one of the most successful in that category
Hmm.
because every generation brings value. And so when we learn to appreciate every generation, one of my favorite generations is Z.
Yeah.
I love Gen Zers. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to be able to explore through this platform because something that started with an idea, which was really based on personal feelings,
Yeah.
feeling left out, feeling that I was somehow other or perhaps less than,
Yeah.
or I just didn't belong. I thought, no, that's absolutely not correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't know how I was going to shift the narrative, and I'm still figuring that out. But
Yeah.
by having a voice and a platform and sticking with it. But one of the things you mentioned, Anuja, was intentionality,
Mm-hmm.
aging with intention. So, first of all, acceptance.
Yeah.
And when we intentionally age, and I say that because life's end is closer than the beginning. And
Hmm.
so we can see that. And so, how do we want to spend those beautiful years? I also believe that this third chapter can be our most fulfilling of all time, but it has to be done with intention.
Mm.
Because when we intentionally get up every morning with a positive attitude, if you don't have one, have a little journal or an app beside your bed that will sort of lift you out of bed.
Yeah.
One of the greatest challenges for women like me and men who have retired and not really wanted to is what do they do? What
Mm.
gets you motivated and up out of bed in the morning? So that's number one.
Yeah.
It's a real shift in routine, but it's really important that we are mostly intentional about every single thing we do, how we get through our day, how we communicate in person. That's very important.
Yeah.
How we continue to learn, how we take care of our bodies, our diet, our health, our fitness. There's so many choices
Yeah.
that we can make, but they will only happen with intentionality.
Yeah. What do you, and that was going to be my exact question. And I think you've given some really practical advice, right? So thinking about, the attitude and the mindset, and I want to dig into that a little bit in a second, but the mindset that you wake up and then creating purpose. And so not everyone is going to be on Saga 960 like you are, or going to be, have the same platform as you are. So for the folks that you meet, what do you suggest to them? How do they find purpose in the everyday? Or how do they find something out of the ordinary in all sorts of different ways in the community, with the people in their lives? What can they do?
I love this question. Thank you so much for it. So, purpose is what keeps us alive. It's what keeps
Mm,
us hopeful. It's what keeps us fulfilled. It's one of those pieces of the puzzle. We talk about cognition and cognitive impairment, which has a slightly greater propensity with age. And so it's something that need to literally be mindful of.
mm,
And so when we're more aware of those things, such as purpose, so what gets you up in the morning? If you no longer have a job and that's been your life for 30, 40, 50 years,
yeah.
most weekly hours is spending more time with your work family than your family. And it's a huge judgment. So one of the most important things is to have something beyond retirement. You know what you're retiring from, but what are you retiring to?
Hmm.
There's only so much golf, so much travel, so much tennis, so much pickle. There's only so much of that, and that's not feeding this or your heart.
Yeah.
So my greatest purpose is volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
I love what I do. I love being a radio host, and I'm still learning it, and loving that opportunity. But volunteerism is something that has so many layers to it. You can volunteer an hour. That was a donation we had to the Evergreen Center in Toronto, and that was
Hmm.
my Gen Z team.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm so proud of them. We raised $25,000 for them.
Oh, wow.
Plus, exactly. Plus, we had boatloads of, this was winter time, and we had boots and gloves and hats and mitts, all new, none of them
Wow.
used, that we were able to donate in addition to the check for $25,000. So
Hmm.
that was pretty rewarding. But that's an example of one of those individuals was actually a volunteer and not on my team. She was on
Hmm.
my team, but as a volunteer. So volunteering utilizes the skills that you already have. So if you've invested in a career, all those connections, all those learnings, all those teachings, those skill sets. And I also have a great heart for charities and the nonprofit sector. The reason being, they are so underfunded and
Hmm.
under-resourced. They can't afford top talent and also have a lot of high turnover in their staff because they can't afford top talent.
Yeah.
So they struggle enough. So when you can take a faction of the population, and there's, thousands of us retiring or have retired, take those skills and apply it in any way that you can. Call your favorite charity, or there's Volunteer Canada, there's all sorts of community foundations. You can reach out to me and I'd be happy to connect you. You can find me on Facebook, Penelope Mathieson, or LinkedIn, Penelope Mathieson. And it's really working that into your day. Even if you don't volunteering is such a big category. It's like saying work,
Yes.
right? There are, millions of things that one can do. Same as volunteering, there are literally 100,000 organizations just in Canada that need
Yeah.
our help. And so when you break that down, wherever your passion is, or if you just want to learn, and whether it's an hour a day, whether it's, an hour a week, it doesn't really matter. But start with something because the reward is, and almost every volunteer that I've spoken to will agree to this, it is more fulfilling on the return. It
Hmm.
just fills your heart in such a beautiful way. And it's a very different way that it fills your heart because you know that you've been of service and you're
Yeah.
helping others and it's impacting down the line. But it's also a great example for your children, your
Hmm.
grandchildren, like little Lucas, who's now 3. And so it's a great example for them because when our generation has officially moved on, who's going to pick up the gap? Most of the charities and nonprofits rely heavily on volunteerism.
On volunteers.
It
Yeah.
is their lifeline. So we saw that in the pandemic when people could no longer get out. It also deeply and negatively impact some of our more senior volunteers because of the fear of socialization and the risks associated with that. So it's a big field, and if it's not volunteering, it could be mentorship. It could just be helping a friend or a neighbor. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be something grand. But like anything, start small. Read up on it. There's tons of information online.
Yeah.
Speak to your friends. Have a coffee at Tim Hortons, and talk to the people there because I'll bet you that there's several volunteers in a busy Tim Hortons that you can chat with. And that's one of the best ways to get connected. So you're making new connections, you're socializing, it's giving you purpose, it's giving you a reason to get up in the morning, and it's making you feel amazing
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. And I'm just like hearing everything that you're saying, right? And really recognizing how much more, I mean, even at my stage, I'm probably in my second chapter right now, raising children and
you
in my
are.
career. And so volunteering is a huge part of our lives, with our kids and how we sort of function in the world. But I
Thank
can
you.
imagine, yeah. And I just say that to say, like, as I get older and as I see my parents and how they can contribute, even if it means helping someone, it allows us to be grateful. And I think
Yes.
that is something I really get from you. So how does gratitude play a part in how you see your life, see, the way that you intentionally build your days and your years and your time in this third chapter?
It's mandatory. It is
Hmm.
it is a massive part of my life, as you can see by the painting behind me,
Yes.
which is the Power of Three, which is Confucius, Lao Tzu, and Buddha. To be grateful is not only humbling, but it should be. It should be. We should never take things for granted. We've become, in my opinion, such a materialistic generation that we sometimes lose sight of appreciation. And it's those small things, opening a door, paying for someone's coffee in front of you in the lineup, helping someone with their groceries, definitely helping people if they're having difficulty walking, for goodness sakes. I've
Hmm.
gotten out of my car to help someone while I've been parked at a light just because nobody else would.
Hmm.
So, and I'm hoping that when people see an example like that, that they will learn from it.
Yeah.
There's so many different layers to what we do by saying thank you,
Hmm.
please, and may I help, and
Yeah.
can I give you a lift? There's so many different layers to that. And the more we do, the more rewarding it is.
Yeah. Do you think we've lost that as a people? I mean, there's a lot of heads in phones. I'm guilty of it from time to time. Do you think we've
Moi
lost a piece?
aussi.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we lost a piece of that, do you think?
I think we have. I think we have because our lives are so insanely busy and so superficial as a result of the digital socializing. And so digital socializing, and this again, if you follow, is it Professor Scott Galloway or Dr. Jonathan Haidt, they have just done incredible research on this topic, and we need to get back to one-on-one. So instead of texting, pick up the phone and actually phone,
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
conversation. Um, and when we stop hiding behind devices and emails and texts and I'm too busy and all. When we stop hiding behind that and think, you know what, she really needs my help.
Yeah.
Or I know he's not feeling well, I want to take over some chicken soup, or whatever it is. Those little acts of kindness are immense. Also, I happen to feel some affection for karmic understanding and belief. And so, with that, and you don't do that out of intentionality, wanting it to come back. When you do it often enough, it's just natural.
Yeah.
It's like brushing your teeth in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's so powerfully joyful. It's
Hmm.
very hard to explain, but it's beautiful to feel.
Yeah. I'm thinking about I'm thinking as you were saying the ingredients to how you
Mm,
are living. And so you talked a bit about helping others. You've talked
yeah.
about positive attitude, you've talked about gratitude. One thing that I want to touch on, and you've sort of alluded to it, like starting something new at 69. So, and you talked about like I'm still figuring it out. Curiosity. How does
Yes.
curiosity play a part in
Oh,
in how you're living these days?
oh, number one, it's right
Yeah.
up there with intentionality. Curiosity keeps our minds open.
Hmm.
And without growth, we become stale and decline sets in. So again, that's where intentionality is your friend.
Hmm.
Curiosity. Let's go back to childhood. How is it that children learn and develop and become the beautiful humans that they become? It's through curiosity, and we should
Hmm.
never lose that. And if you have lost it, it's easy to get back
Yeah.
with intention.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Curiosity opens your eyes. You'll try new things. If you feel isolated, for example, stay curious. Go out, explore something. Go for a coffee. Try
yeah.
pickleball. Go for a walk with a neighbor that you barely know. Offer to walk her or his dog.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Have a
there's
conversation, ask a
have a
question.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get into something that personally and selfishly is a huge inspiration for me. So I'm 45 years old, but I feel like you are far more active than I am. And so I think one of the ingredients to your lifestyle is certainly your focus on health. So I
Mhm.
think that's something we can't ignore. And like I said, it is something that has inspired me, honestly, Penelope, in the last couple of months since I met you. This is you doing Dancing with the Stars in Mississauga, I believe.
That
When
was
was
so
this,
fun.
Penelope?
We
Yeah, when
raised a
was
lot
this?
of money.
Yeah, how long
Yeah.
ago was this?
That was 2018.
Oh my gosh,
That
look
was
at you.
2018
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so Dancing with Mississauga Stars I think ran for quite a few years, and then with COVID it just never returned. The
yeah,
momentum was lost, but it was such a privilege and a pleasure. You have to be invited to
yes.
participate as opposed to apply. You have to fundraise. And I would love to see someone bring this back because as a fundraiser, it was
Mm,
brilliant. It was so fun. And I was so proud and privileged to participate.
yeah. Well, look at you in your
I,
60s with
I
your
still
leg
have
all
the
the way up
dress.
there, girl. I don't know how your legs all that's impressive, but
Yeah,
that's
you
not the
could.
that's not the only thing. Even more recently, let's talk about this. So, age 71, tell me about this photo.
So that's from One Health. I was an ambassador for One Health for many years because of my age. And again, there's an assumption that at a certain age that you no longer are as athletically fit as you once were. But I have the opposite belief. And that is to be a healthy ager, we need to do this because naturally, as we age, beyond the age of 40, we start losing muscle mass,
Mm,
particularly women. And without strength, how do we carry our grandchildren? How do
mm.
we pick them up from the floor? How do we get off the floor? Right? It's all, I mean, it's those little things, but you'll know by just playing with your grandkids. I want to be able to keep up with them. I want to dance with them and play tennis with them and do whatever I can because because I had that.
Yeah.
So I want to pay it forward. It's a massive part of my life and it's always intentional. And I want to admit that I never, ever, ever look forward to working out. I don't. I don't.
That's honesty
However,
there.
there is gratitude at the end of it. And I'm
Mm,
thankful that it's done and I
yes.
can check it off my day, but I have to put it in my calendar
Hmm.
because I'm one of those people. And it's like if it's in my calendar, I have to do it. And if it's
Yeah.
got a red uh, exclamation beside it, there's no moving it, there's no
Yeah.
shifting it to another day.
Well, and there you go, being intentional about movement, right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
and not everyone's going to do the
And
splits, but you again,
you
I
don't
just
have to.
you don't have to. And I
You
think like
don't,
starting small is what you said earlier,
yeah.
right? Take that one step and be intentional and deliberate about it, I think is
The splits was something that was just really important to me. When I was turning 50, I was training for the New York Marathon.
hmm,
And my trainer at the time, who was an Ironman, said, Penelope, you could do this. However, it probably will be your very last run. Have you
hmm,
noticed that after each long run, you're getting ART and chiropractic treatments for weeks afterwards to to undo the damage that I've done to my calves and my thighs? It's like, yes. He said, nature's trying to tell you something. That kind of distance isn't good for your body type. I'm tall. I'm 5'10".
yes.
So typically runners aren't as tall. Anyway, that was all new to me.
Yes.
So he said, you might have to switch to something else. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I was devastated. So I said, I used to be able to do the splits. Let's see if we can still do that. So
Yes.
we couldn't. We couldn't even come close. And it took me, I don't know how many months, but many, many months, slow baby steps, continuous effort to try and get back there. And I vowed I was determined that I would get it back. And
Yeah.
once I did, I swore I'd never lose it. So I do that routine several times a week.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And you at 71, tell me
Two.
about no, at 71,
Oh,
tell me
71.
about Miss Health and Fitness.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So in January of this year, there was a posting from Ms. Health and Fitness magazine in the US, and they were looking for a cover model.
Hmm.
So I thought, "Pff, yeah." And then I thought, wait a minute, if not now, then when? Could
Yeah.
this be something? And what it did for me on so many levels was beyond motivation. It was so inspiring.
Hmm.
There were other women in my age group, not many, but most of them were definitely under 40. But but the feedback that I got from the media, from friends, from just talking about it was like, wow, why not? And what it did ultimately was, I think, give a little more incentive to others to think,
Yeah.
she's right. If not now, then when?
Yeah.
Why not? I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose but ego. So
Yeah.
remove the ego and just see what happens. And I placed in the
And
top
top,
10.
wasn't it? Yeah, it's incredible. It's so incredible. Talk about a
Top 10.
platform. Talk about a
I
platform.
still have the press release.
Yeah.
It's just
It's so incredible. It's awesome.
right.
And putting yourself out there, you make yourself really vulnerable in the service of
Yes,
others, right? And
you do.
I'm sure it was an ego boost, which is great. Also, nothing wrong with that. But also just, you are an advocate. You are a demonstration to others that you don't have to stop. And, like I said before, not everyone listening is ready to do the splits or go on the cover of a magazine. But I think what you are describing is about not letting fear hold
Ba-
you back,
Baby
not letting
steps.
fear, yeah, and baby steps, right? It's
Yeah.
and working towards something and being intentional about it, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the splits are for whoever's listening, maybe it's doing a 2 kilometer walk, maybe it's going outside and asking a question to someone
Yes.
you don't know. Like it could be anything that feels like a bit of a push, I think is
Yes.
what's a great option.
Even something as simple as I sit all day. I'm in my home office and I'm seated, but I intentionally get up every hour
Yep.
and just stretch or walk up and down the stairs, usually to get a snack. But yeah, you have to reward yourself. But it's again, it's intentionality. It's
Yep.
making the effort to um, I have to get this done, but I'm going to have to take out a few minutes now just to keep my body active. There's another easy thing you can do in your home office, which is over there. Sit on an exercise ball, if only for
Mm.
10 minutes,
Yep.
right? It helps to strengthen your core. It doesn't take any extra time. They're not expensive to purchase. You can probably find one on Facebook Marketplace. And there's little things in the kitchen, at the counter, just do some gentle squats. Once we mentally prepare, it helps to shift the mindset
Yep.
because also just do a set of 10 squats without weight
Yep.
and don't go all the way, like just go a little bit,
Yeah. Even
pace
stretching,
yourself,
right? Any
but
sort of
then
stretch,
feel
it's good.
it. You will feel
Yeah.
it the next day.
Yeah.
And that feeling, that physicality of feeling what you did, 9 times out of 10 will say, oh my goodness, it's working. I should do it
Mm.
again. And
Yeah.
so consistent habits, when we can do that every day or at least every other day. I have one rule, and I don't really like rules, but I have one rule about fitness, and that is you can miss a day, but don't miss two,
Mm.
even if it's 10 minutes.
Yep.
You have to stay on track because once you lose that momentum, it can take weeks, sometimes months to get back.
Oh
I know
gosh.
many people that
You are
belong to a gym that don't
Yeah.
go.
You are speaking to me, my friend. You are speaking to
I'm
me. I have
sorry.
a yes, I have a very expensive gym membership with
Well, there you go.
um what actually really aligns with the question that came in the Q&A, and that is, what is your morning routine? So what does it look like in the morning for you?
So I generally wake around 5:30 to quarter to 6
Yeah.
because I've been getting up at that time for 50 years. I start my day with a cup of yogurt, flavored.
Yes.
Cup of yogurt. I have 2 to 3 lattes in the morning, which is my version of a latte, which is just vanilla almond milk, half and half, half coffee, half vanilla, because I love my coffee.
Yes.
Water.
Yeah.
Sometimes water and lemon, but not every day because the acid can be very hard on your teeth. I mean, look at your gorgeous white teeth. You don't want to ruin those. So, and then I pace myself. So I have that first, and then within about usually my second cup of coffee, I have a hard-boiled egg, and a muffin or a piece of whole grain toast with, some kind of butter, almond butter, cashew butter, and honey, because you want the
Hmm.
sweetness.
Yes.
And then I eat constantly throughout the day because that's my metabolism.
Hmm.
Find out what works for you, but sometimes just little snacks. And I junk out too. I have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I will not say no to chips. So, but it's again, it's being mindful of them. So instead of my partner loves chips, but I can't give them to him in a bag, regardless of how large or small it is. He'll just
Yes.
eat the whole thing. Let's put it in a bowl. It's number one, it's more elegant.
Yes.
It's a much better presentation and it limits your intake. But think about so I start my day with that because, particularly at this stage in life, you want to start your day with protein. It helps the system kick in. It helps to fill you so that you're
Hmm.
not reaching for cookies, two sweet muffins, whatever the snack might be. Um, and then for lunch, I generally have, so in between, sort of 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., I will eat three little things
Mm-hmm.
and just space them apart. So I'm never full, but I'm never hungry.
Yeah.
And mid-morning, I will absolutely have another snack. It might be a muffin, it might be another piece of toast, it might be something I shouldn't have, but I will have something. It might be more yogurt.
Yeah.
Lunchtime, I have whatever I want. It could range from sushi to a sandwich to cottage cheese. It depends how much time I have working
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I
Yeah.
think about everything that I eat, and that's been the big shift.
Yeah.
Before it was just, I'm fortunate I tend not to gain weight easily but I also burn a lot of calories through weight training.
Yeah.
Um, but when we can set a have a mindset that is really considering before it goes in here what it is. Do I want this? Do I need this? Does it serve me well?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And
Sometimes we have to put it back
yeah. I've been there also,
or
but
just feel guilty afterwards.
both work
And
once
that's
in a while.
okay.
That's
That's
okay,
okay.
absolutely. And you talked about habits, right? So you talked about these continuous habits. And so is goal setting, when we talk about intentionality, often we talk about goal setting, and that's a question that came through. Are you still setting goals? Do you do short-term goals, long-term goals? What does it look like for you?
Great question. I set goals for my fitness actually. And
Hmm.
the reason I do that is what I have found that works for me is I need to be accountable. And so I have a journal in my home gym and I set my intention, which is typically 5 hours a week. And I fit that in and I log every time I work out and what I've done so that
Hmm.
I know that through the week I've got to get all the body parts done. And like that's a little extreme. But I want
Yep.
to go back to journaling because what I love about journaling is it can be for anything. Whether you want to record what you eat, how you slept, what your thoughts are, what your fears are, what your goals are, what your aspirations are, it doesn't matter. But writing it down leads to intentional changes. And so it's the first step in trying to get to point B from A.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a ha that's a habit in itself, right? Like just
It
tracking.
is.
And that's something I've always tried to do, and I do it well for a couple of days, but like you said, after I take 2 days off, it tends to fall off the track a little bit. But one question came in about someone who's simply just retired in the last couple of months, and they're asking, what advice would you give them as they've just entered retirement?
Well, what do they want? How are they how will they spend their retirement?
Mm,
I'd love to know. So I would say for the first month, just enjoy it. Just decompress, chill 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever the time period is, until you feel boredom setting in. But
yep.
take that time to do something productive that makes you feel good. And at least once a week, pick up a new habit, whether it's
Hmm.
walking,
Hmm.
whether it's picking up the phone and pick up a new habit to start replacing some of the previous habits that we've had from many, many decades of working,
Yep.
because we will start to miss that routine. So I'm not saying have a routine right away,
Yep.
but don't not have some kind of purpose and something to get you up in the morning and get you excited about your day. um, Meeting friends for lunch or dinner or breakfast or coffee or whatever is a great way to reconnect, find out what's going on in your community.
Yep.
Maybe they need a hand.
Yep.
Maybe they're looking for a pickleball partner. You just never know where those conversations lead, but they
Yeah.
have to be in-person conversations. That's
Hmm.
how we get to deep diving. We
Yep.
don't get it on our devices.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. No,
very superficial.
yeah. I want to ask you, what advice would you give yourself at age 50? What would you tell yourself if you could
At
go back?
50?
At 50.
Wow, at 50. Um, I'm trying to think. It was 22 years ago. What advice would I give myself at 50? At 50, I was still very much corporate.
Mm-hmm.
I was burning out. I was always traveling and working long hours. I still work long hours. Um, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to think about that for a moment. And what advice would I give? I know what advice I would do. At 50, I would say don't listen to your girlfriends that are saying, oh, it's time to do Botox or get your lips filled or whatever, whatever. And the reason I say that is because I did try it.
Hmm.
I did try it, and I had one brow up here and one down there. And I thought, so this is what I signed up for and spent thousands of dollars on, and for what? But
Yeah.
the other part that concerns me as someone who is fascinated by health and fitness and I support it, we don't know the long-term effects of those.
Mm,
And so when we can remove the vanity from the person and look towards purpose, mindset, intentionality, kindness, look to other um, skills and characteristics to replace the vanity, it's so much richer, it's
mm,
longer lasting, it's infectious to others. So I also would like to be a bit loud about, I mean, whatever you decide to do to your face or your body is your business. However, I ask, I would tell my 50-year-old self, Penelope, if you have to try it, but commit to only trying it. Because the other side that I see, and I have some very dear friends who get into this, is they just never stop.
mm.
And then as we age, there's no connection between your face and the rest of you. It's like, oh, that's somebody else's face on my friend's body. It's bizarre. Have
Yeah.
a facial, use good skincare, take care of your skin, laugh,
Drink
read,
water.
think, drink
Yeah.
water. Drink
Yeah.
water, exactly.
One last thing I really want to ask you about is
Yeah.
the role of fun in your life. Like I'm thinking about this Dancing with the Stars photo. I'm thinking about, time with your grandkids, time with family. Like how does fun play a role in how you live?
Oh, I think it's essential.
Hmm.
If I mean, if we can't have fun, why are we living?
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Fun is, I like funny people. I like to make people laugh. I like to laugh myself with funny people. I like having fun. I like trying things. I am deeply curious. Um, the fun factor is huge. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the things that also keeps us engaged in community. Because
Yeah.
typically, when we want to have fun, it might mean with another person or people. And
Yeah.
so socialization is key in this age group, given that loneliness and social isolation are the number one mortality threats for Canadians. And that increases dramatically over the age of 75. So
Yeah.
it's really important to enjoy every single day because it is a gift. And it is
Yes.
even a greater gift when it's fun. So why wouldn't you? And you know what? If you don't want to have fun, then journal about it and see which day makes you feel better, the fun day or the not so fun day.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And again, there's the accountability.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think, Penelope, I'm so appreciative of you really giving us a roadmap. You've really given us the ingredients, a recipe, whatever you want to call it, for an intentional, purposeful life, right? You talked about
Thank you.
things like curiosity, you talked things, positive attitude, gratitude, and the role that plays, talking about having fun, and then, even just the focus on our health and fitness, right? And our diet, and, being intentional about how we treat these bodies that get us through. And and the big thing you talked about was being of service, and that
Yes.
in this time where we can find purpose is helping others. And so you
Yes.
have given us the perfect recipe, I think, for it's not going to look like your life, but it's going to look like a purposeful, intentional life if we add those ingredients together. And I'm just so grateful for you sharing all of that. And I really believe people are going to benefit from hearing your story.
Thank you so much. I have one last piece of advice, and that is Canai.
Please. Yes.
Canai. So in the 80s, when I took too many Tony Robbins courses, Canai, Cani, constant and never ending improvement. But I will
Hmm.
say that was in my 30s, I think, half a lifetime ago, and I am still living by that. It
Hmm.
is when you think about that intentionally, constant and never ending improvement, not big steps, little teeny steps and consistency. Consistency is what develops our habits. So if you
Hmm.
want to stretch every day, stretch every day. And if you're struggling to keep it up, write it down. That keeps you accountable.
Yeah. Amazing. And what a great last piece of advice to give us, Penelope, and everyone listening. And thank you so, so much.
Thank
I want to
you.
thank you again for being here. Before we sign off, I do want to remind everyone we will be doing, I think we're going to throw a slide up here. We are going to be moving our webinar series to in person. You talked about being in person.
Oh,
We are so
cool.
excited. Starting in September, it will be the third Wednesday of every month, in the afternoon in Clarkson and Mississauga. We'll be starting off off Wednesday, September 16th. You will get an email tomorrow where you can sign up. And we are starting with one of the most popular topics, decluttering for older adults and for seniors. And how do we get, you know, free ourselves of all the stuff that takes up our homes. And, we are really here to try to arm everyone with the skills and the knowledge to live as intentionally and purposefully as they can. And so our webinar series continues into a seminar series starting in September, and we will be meeting on the third Wednesday of every month at this Clarkson office. I think there is one more question. I am just seeing it come in. Sorry, before we go. For a newly retired person, would you recommend only starting volunteer positions in skills you already have, that you already are confident in, or putting yourself out there in something different? What would you advise?
What an excellent question. Excellent question. Whatever you feel like. It's a great way to utilize your skills, but I can almost guarantee that even by utilizing your skills and going into a charity or a nonprofit, you will inherit more, you will learn more, you will pick up
Mm,
more. So, because you will have others around you and everyone sharing. But what a
mm,
fabulous question.
yeah.
Do what you love.
Do what you love. And sometimes that's figuring out what you might love that you haven't had the chance to
Exactly.
do.
I
Yeah.
have a girlfriend actually who's a CPA, and she is always being asked to volunteer for accounting purpose. And she said, I
Yeah.
will volunteer, but I'm not doing your
Yeah. I'm
accounting.
not doing the
I want
books.
to do something else. I thought, good
Yeah.
for you.
That's
So
amazing.
we all just need to speak up and do as we decide is the right thing for us.
I love that. And just one more. This is not a question, but it says no question, but loving trying new things as I turn into a senior citizen this week. Keep us young, grateful for this insightful session. So, need to echo that. Someone is thanking you for this
Oh,
as
how
they
sweet.
turn a
Thank you
senior
so
citizen
much.
officially this week. So, again, Penelope Mathieson, thank you so much for your time. And all of you who are joining us either live or on the video, we can happily provide you Penelope's contact information, and please reach out if you have any questions. But once again, thank you, Penelope, and
Thank
to
you.
everyone. Yeah, to everyone
Bye,
else, take
everybody.
care.
Thanks for
Yeah,
joining.
yeah. Have a great rest of summer. Thank you.
Cheers.